Sometimes when you're a little bit older, you forget what it's like to be 18, 19 years old and go and play in an environment like Autzen Stadium. And it was a really good learning experience for a lot of our young players. We played about a quarter and a half of competitive football. And from there, we made too many mistakes to give ourselves a chance to even be in the game. We turned the ball over too many times. Our mental errors and our penalties, you can't make mental errors against a good football team and expect to have a chance. And, we played a talented team that has championship aspirations. They prepared with a sense of urgency, and they played with a sense of urgency. And we did not respond the right way. Overall, we have a foundation for a really good football team. And going through the preseason, you have to learn lessons and improve. And that's what we have to do. We have to learn from this performance. There's some great lessons in them. Some of them very difficult, hard lessons, but they're lessons all the same. And we have to take that and move forward. It's interesting. I was watching some of the Patriots game last night, and Tom Brady was talking about he was proud of their defense, and he felt like their offense is going to be pretty good, and maybe by Thanksgiving they would improve to the point where they would be pretty good. And it just goes to show the mindset of all good football teams. You have to continue to work and improve, and that's what we have to do. Really excited this week to get back on the field and prepare for Weber State. One of the probably most disciplined, well-coached teams in the country. I've been talking about Weber State for several months with our team. Even last week against Oregon, I was talking about Weber State because I just have so much respect for how they play, how they're prepared, and what Coach Hill does with that team. They're coming off a 10-win season last year. They've reached the playoffs in their division the last 3 seasons. They played San Diego State tooth and nail right down to the game. They missed I had a trick play that was open. If they would have converted on that, we probably would have won the game. They beat Cal Poly last week, 41-21. So just a very quality team. Very well coached, very disciplined, make you earn everything you get. And so it's a really it's a good prep for us this week to get back on the right side of things. Their offense, they bring back a lot of contributors. They have a junior quarterback that's returning, Jay Constantine. He got a little bit dinged up last week. Really good running back in Josh Davis coming back. He averaged 133 yards last year as a freshman. Defensively, just one of the top defense in the country in FCS level, 9th in pass defense, 2nd in scoring defense last year. Very, very solid in special teams. Overall, just a very, very quality opponent in every way. Have tremendous respect for them. There's been a real history of Nevada and Weber playing. A lot of people remember the great comeback game that Nevada had against Weber. We'll certainly talk about that history with our team. But we're very, very excited to get back into Mackey and to get back on track and continue to improve as a team. And as we started the non-conference season, we knew we had to navigate the non-conference and continue to improve and learn some valuable lessons, especially for some of our positions that are younger, so that we could be prepared to compete when we do hit conference schedule. And so, we're after 2 weeks, we're 1-1. We've learned some tough lessons that we can improve from, and we've got to continue that this week and be another big step for us in that regard.
Coach, you called Saturday's game a learning experience. What's the biggest thing you want your team to learn from that loss?
Well, I just think, you have to have played in those kind of environments and have confidence in those kind of environments. And, I look at a program like Boise who has had success on the road in big venues. As a program, they believe that they can win in those situations, and they understand the mental approach you have to take. And I just think we have some guys in some critical positions that have never been in that situation before. And that's what we're working towards. We want to be the kind of program that can feel confident in those types of venues and to know what we have to do to win in those types of games. I think we're talented enough to be able to compete against a team like that if we have the right mindset, and we play without making mistakes. You don't really give yourself a chance when you make the kind of mental mistakes that we made in that game. So, I was proud. I thought we did some things early that really gave us a chance. We converted on 3 4th downs in the first quarter and a half, 2 short yardage plays that were really well executed, and then the 4th down play where I don't know if it was 4th and 11 or something going in. I thought that was a tremendous job of executing, and those are the kind of plays you have to make to win games like that. We just weren't able to continually to play like that for 4 quarters. So, that's the goal, is to understand what it takes. It takes a lot of maturity. It takes a lot of mental intensity to compete for 4 quarters versus a very good football team. And you can't give up a play. And that's a different mindset. That's a mature mindset. That's a mindset of a mature competitor that has had those types of experiences before. And we just have some kids that just haven't. And that's the reality of it. And as much as, I've been in a lot of those games, as much as I feel comfortable in those games, and a lot of our coaches do, we still have some 18-year-old guys and 19-year-old guys that are playing in key positions that have to be prepared for those types of circumstances. So that's our goal. We'll just keep preparing them and getting them ready. And we have a long football season. We got 10 more regular season games, and we have to continue to get better and improve.
This is your game against an FCS opponent. What do you do as a coach to kind of safeguard against your guys thinking this is a lower level division opponent?
We've been talking all off season about our schedule and the challenges of the schedule, and I think that goes back to the maturity piece. Every week is different. The challenge of every week is different. Obviously, last week was much different than our first game, playing a Big Ten team, playing a Pac-12 team, playing on the road, playing at home. And so we have to look at the challenges of this game. This is a quality team regardless of the division they play in. They know how to win. They're very well coached. And so that's what we have to prepare for. And we have to get back and do the things we have to do to win. And that's playing without making penalties. That's playing without making mental mistakes. That's protecting the football. All those things that we have to do to be a good team. And this will be a challenge. I said it after the game. If we make the same kind of mistakes we made last week, this week we'll have the same result. We won't win. And because Weber's a very, very quality opponent. So, I've been talking about him. If you walk through our offices all summer, we didn't just have Purdue highlights. We didn't just have Oregon highlights. We had Weber highlights. We had Texas El Paso highlights, because these games are equally as important to our program and to our season. So just try to weight it the same as a coach and talk about them. I even talked about Weber last week as we were getting ready for Oregon because, probably out of all the non-conference games, this one probably concerned me the most as a coach because I do have so much respect for how they're prepared.
How did you come out physically from the Oregon game? I saw Malik Brody and Carson Thomas were a little banged up.
We've had 2 really physical games, and we knew going in they would be very physical, and so you have to manage that and get through that. Malik's a little beat up. Carson's a little beat up. Trevor Price is a little beat up. We have several kids that are sore, and and a lot of guys that are playing that are sore today. But that's football. Usually Mondays are a little bit sore still from a game, and as we get closer to game time, they'll be a little bit better. We're hoping to get Malik Henry back this week. He had strep throat last week. Kristen Solano should be better this week, pressing him forward. And hopefully, Malik will be all right as we move closer to game time. But it'll be important. We have a lot of freshmen that will probably play this week. We have a lot of freshmen that have 4 games to play. We're going to use them. We're going to use them on special teams, and if they need to be backups, we brought them here to play, and we're gonna press them into action, and then kind of evaluate after non-conference if we need to redshirt people or not. But we recruited a good class. We think a lot of those kids are capable of playing this year, and so we'll kind of press some of those young guys into action.
It looks like Hamish obviously got cleared to play. I guess when did he get cleared, and why did you guys go with him as the second option over maybe a Solano or a Kirksey?
He got cleared about 12 o'clock on Friday, right before we got on the bus, and we kind of had to run around campus and get a lot of signatures. But Christian is healing up. We feel very fortunate that Christian even has a chance to play this year, and so giving him another week to heal would be best for the long term. And we just wanted to be smart in that situation. Hamish is actually a guy that has some college experience. He's played at Sac State. He had 4 games under his belt, and so we wanted to take advantage of that. We didn't have Malik because of the strep throat, and so we just wanted to be smart in that situation. And Hamish is a guy who may have to play. I really felt like at the beginning of the year we were going to have to play multiple quarterbacks this year, and it just helps to get him a little bit experience moving forward. So, but we should have Christian available this week. We should have Malik available this week, in case we have to play somebody else.
Are you at all concerned about the confidence of the team right now coming off a game like that?
No, I'm always concerned every week that we're confident. But we have a good football team. We have a great foundation of kids. Obviously last week wasn't what we wanted. It wasn't the result we wanted. But if you lose 5-3 or by what we lost by, the result is the same in the loss column. We have to regroup our team and get our team ready to practice and ready to play with urgency. Regardless of what happened last week, we have a job to do this week, and it's our job as coaches to, get going and whatever, regardless of the result, win or lose, we got to move. We got to turn the page and move forward and get ready for the next game.
You had a huge win last year, Portland State, and now you're coming off of this. What's more difficult to kind of deal with the next week as far as confidence or overconfidence? All the mental side.
I just think we're dealing with young people that have a lot of information that's thrown at them, and it's a constant challenge to get their attention. And as a coach, I fight a lot of things. I fight the media. I fight social media. I fight people on campus talking to our team. I fight parents and family talking to our team. And every time I let them go, I know that they're going out into the world to hear what the world has to say about their performance. And so, we just have to worry about the things we can control. And that's the greatest learning experience about playing in a place like Autzen. I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up playing at Ohio State and Michigan, over 100,000 people. I played in the Coliseum. I played in the Rose Bowl, over 100,000 people. Autzen Stadium seats 50,000. It's not the most intimidating atmosphere in football. But if you've never done it before, you make it a little bit bigger than it is. And that's kind of what happened to some of our kids, and not all of them. We had a lot of kids playing hard and a lot of guys that were competing, but we had a handful that they can't come out of the stands and play. You can't, and you have to learn that as a player. And that's part of the experience of playing college football and playing in those kind of venues. We want the kind of team that learns from that, and the next time we get in that situation, we handle it a lot more mature and a lot better. And it also is a great example of when you play a very, very talented team like Oregon, it doesn't take much for you to get off the tracks. I've been in that situation before. When I was at Oklahoma, everybody expects you to win at a high level, and you practice hard all week to prove that you need to be recognized nationally. And that's what we ran into last week. We made mental errors and we helped them. We helped them look good. And you can't do that with a good team. So, it's not a surprise that it can happen. We have to learn from it. Obviously, we don't like getting our nose rubbed in it. But at the same time, I got a great call you find out who your friends are. Last week I got a lot of text messages. This weekend I didn't get so many. But I got a call from a great friend of mine, Freddie Bolitnikoff, and he started laughing. He goes, sometimes it's good to get a good ass kicking, and he's right. It's just life, and guys that play sports understand sometimes you get on the wrong side of the ledger. You don't like it, but you have to live with the outcome, and you have to change it. And the only way you get to change it in sports is to play again. And people that have played the game understand that, and Freddie understands it. He's a great friend, and he says, "Hey, I've been there myself, and you guys got a good team, and you'll be back, and just keep working." And that's what you have to do.
Third down conversion rate hasn't been great the last couple of years, and not the start of this year. Is that more on the third down, or is it more on first and second down, putting yourselves in good position?
It's both, and that's a good question. Your efficiency has to do on all downs, and the more efficient you are on first and second down, the better you are on third down. And so it's eliminating the negative play. It's eliminating the penalty, the sack. The things that kill you in converting on third down are getting behind the chains. And that's one of the things we have to clean up is our penalties. We can't have a false start, put it at first and 15. We can't get a minus yardage play, a sack. And so those things we have to eliminate. And as we do that, we'll start improving on third down. The other part of that is just having confidence in our protection, and our quarterback play on third down really has to improve. And we didn't do a very good job at the receiver position either, getting open in this last game. We got challenged with man coverage. Our route running has to be much better, to help Carson out. Our protection needs to be better. And then he's got to be a little bit more accurate. He made some poor throws. He had some guys open, and that's something he'll learn from as a young player. He does a good job of seeing things and making adjustments. So it's a combination of all of that, really, and that's something that we have to be good at. Taking care of the ball and being good on third down are key stats that we have to be good at if we're going to have a good offensive team.
Lucas mentioned after the game on Saturday, if the younger guys on defense have questions, they need to ask them. How important is it that those younger players take that onus of wanting to get better as opposed to people just dragging them along?
Well, that's a really good point. And, today is Monday. It's Tell the Truth Monday, and you have to want to be coached as a player. You have to. Really good teams they improve after poor performances, and that's what we have to do. We have some young players that are learning how to be good players. Part of being a good player is asking questions and understanding what you do in certain situations. Sometimes young players are afraid to ask, and you can't be that way. You have to know what to do in all situations, and if something happens, you got to know what adjustment to make. So that's part of learning. It's part of the learning process. Good teams learn as they move along throughout the season, and we shouldn't be the same team today in another month from now. A lot of these young players should continue to improve. These are the lessons we got to learn before we go to conference. And we have to look at the film today and really make the adjustments, improvements we need to make to be better.
You guys obviously played two really good passing teams, but what's been the biggest issue with the pass defense? More the secondary or a lack of a pass rush?
No, it's a combination of both. We didn't get good pressure on Saturday. We got a little bit better pressure versus Purdue, but this past weekend we didn't get much pressure. Even when we blitzed, we didn't get to the quarterback. But really, it sounds like a cliche, and you hear the Patriots talk about it all the time, but you have to do your job. If you're a deep pass defender, you can't try to cover a guy in the flat. You have to do your job. And we've just had some young guys get a little bit antsy and not take care of their responsibilities. And so we became a really good defensive team last year when we played Air Force, because we had to do our responsibilities and every man had to do his job. And we need that kind of moment defensively with some of our young players. They have to trust each other. They have to do what they're supposed to do and not worry about trying to do somebody else's job. And we haven't done that consistently in the first two games. And so that's part of the learning curve that we have to do. We've busted some coverages. We've had some poor communication, and we've had some poor reaction on patterns that we have to correct.
Is team speed the biggest difference between elite teams and everybody else?
That was a quality roster we played. I mean, they are big. They have a lot of speed. I mean, even I was impressed at the end of the game when they were putting in their 2s and 3s. They have some backup linemen that are absolutely gigantic. They had a right guard in there, 71. He looked like he was about 380 pounds, about 6'8". But the depth of a roster like that and the speed was impressive. They have a really impressive secondary. That's probably the best secondary that we'll play all year long. And their team speed is tough. And on special teams and all that, it's hard to match that. And they're a very good team. And when you play against a physically talented team who's playing very focused and executing well, you have to execute well or you're not going to be able to keep up. And that's what happened to us Saturday.
You talked about rubbing your nose in it. Did you feel that Oregon was maybe a little too aggressive late in that game?
No, I mean that's what happens when you play a team that's supposed to be one of the better teams in the country, and they're trying to prove a point. It's our job to stop them, and so I didn't feel that way. I felt like they were trying to score, and we have to do a good job of stopping them, and we have to do a good job on offense too. I mean, we can't go out there and go 3 and out and keep putting the defense out in that situation. I mean, we had 3 drives where we turned it over on the very first play offensively, and you can't keep throwing your defense back out there like that. That's not good football. And so, I thought we did a good job in our first game playing all 3 phases where we didn't put our defense in that tough situation. But in this game, we didn't do that, and we have to do a better job.
Cristobal kind of hitting at, like with the new rule, you can play 4 games in the old days. So you're going to see guys like Oregon, their future stars, as opposed to maybe 10 years ago, you're going to see guys, 4th stringers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to play harder, and they're going to try to score. Does that change football now a little bit?
I don't think so, because we're doing the same thing. I mean, we're trying, when we put our backups in, we expect them to perform, whether it's defense, offense, special teams, whatever. And so if we put our backup quarterback or a backup line in, we expect them to move the ball and score. That's what we practice them doing, and they're no different. No, I don't think it changes. I think it's a good thing for college football. I think it's good to allow kids to play and get experience, and we'll try to do that as well. We're going to probably do more of that this week. We'll probably play some more of our freshmen. We got a lot of guys that are practicing hard that deserve a chance to play, and we'll play more young players this week.
One of my cohorts is doing a story on Daniel Brown and wanted me to ask you about him. Obviously had a huge game against Purdue. Where have you seen him grow during your time here, and what does he mean to this defense?
Just experience. Daniel's become a leader. He was, I think his first year we were here, he was a little immature and just didn't know how serious you had to be to improve and be a good player. Good players seek out coaching. They want to be coached. And that's something that Daniel has taken, from Coach Lockwood. He really understands his position on the team. He knows that when he plays at a high level, it helps our defense. And, that's what I've been so proud about, the guys that are becoming leaders on our defense. They understand that when they take coaching and they play with great effort, it really affects everybody around them. And Daniel's that guy. Really huge play that he made at the end of the Purdue game. He had 2 turnovers. And we expect him to play at a high level all the time. So he's got to have a great season for us to really have a good secondary. And so he's a guy we count on to lead us back there.
What do you guys try and take away from that Oregon game? Obviously, it's not the result you wanted, but Coach wants you to learn something from every game. And what is the message that derived from that outing?
Yeah, obviously things didn't go our way last Saturday, but I think the biggest thing Coach has been talking about is mental intensity. We had way too many mental errors and penalties and just misassignments and stuff. And when you're playing a great team like we did the other night, you just can't have those. You got to play absolutely perfect, and we didn't do that. And going forward, mental intensity is something we really got to focus on and just keep working at it. And so that's probably the biggest thing we were taking away from that game.
With such a high in week 1 and then a low this Saturday, personally as a player, how does that impact you experiencing such vast different emotions in 2 different weeks?
Yeah, going from winning against Purdue and then what happened with Oregon, obviously it's not ideal. I've been around a few years. I've been in situations like this a few times, winning and then losing. It's once it's over, it's over now. Like, we watched the film, we learned what we had to learn from it, and right now it's all about Weber State. It's just we got to move forward, and you can't really be super emotional about it and dwell on that. You guys gotta keep moving because all our goals are still ahead of us.
Coaching staff always seems to be even keeled, win or lose. Is that a strength of this coaching staff?
Yeah, I think definitely, win or lose, Coach, he keeps the same messages with us, and he has the same level of emotion, and it's definitely it helps us, our confidence. He just wants to make sure we're not getting too low on ourselves, getting too high. We want to make sure we have a level head and keep working, keep focus on our opponent. Win or lose, you got celebrate that day, and then next day you're moving on to the next opponent.
He talked a little bit about, it's hard for a student athlete these days not to read the media or social media or talk to friends or people on campus and, ride that emotional wave. You as a veteran, as a guy who's been here a long time, I guess what's the key for you to make sure that you're not listening to what other people say and you're just focusing on what the staff is trying to tell you?
Yeah, definitely it's hard to, after a game, win or lose, you still, you see on your phone, you see outside what people are saying. For me personally, game ends, I see my family, win or lose, they have the same, whatever for me, the emotion. But I think as an older guy, I've learned to kind of just, steer clear of it. It doesn't really matter what anyone else really thinks. Only the guys in the room with us in the building, we know what we got to do. But for the younger guys, you just got to, relay that message, make sure they're not, focusing too much on all the outside stuff.
What are you guys expecting from Weber State?
Weber State, we've watched a little bit of film on them a little bit. They're, one of the best FCS teams for sure. They play hard, they're physical, they're well coached, and I think they're definitely going to come in here with a winning attitude. We saw what they did with San Diego State. We can't take them lightly at all. We had 2 years ago with Idaho State, and last year with Portland State. We've seen both kind of spectrums of it. And I think, with Weber State, we definitely have to go into that mindset that they're coming in, they want to win, they think they're going to win. We got to, respect them and play to our abilities.
Does a loss like Saturday's make you guys more hungry?
Yeah, definitely, after a loss like what happened the other night, it's hard. But like I said earlier, our goals are still there, and we're still hungry. We got to keep the same attitude. Make sure the younger guys. It's on us as older guys. Make sure the younger guys they're not they're not down. They're not feeling it. We got to just get out there, practice, move on, and keep working towards our goals.
You mentioned the Idaho Iowa State game. Do you feel like you guys took that one for granted or had a different approach just because they were an FCS school and it ended up kind of hurting?
Yeah, I think definitely there were guys, seeing as an FCS school, we kind of just walked in there and thought we'd win automatically, and obviously that didn't happen. Then last year with Portland State, I think we righted that ship and didn't let that happen again. And I just think going to Weber State, they're a great football team. We got to make sure we have that same mindset that they're an Oregon type of level player. We got to keep playing them.
You're kind of the veteran of the offensive line. What are things that you've liked about what the Union has done the first 2 games and maybe some things that you guys need to improve on?
Yeah, definitely we've had, a good game against Purdue last week. Things didn't go our way. I don't think it was as bad as we thought it was initially, but, there was definitely room to improve and a lot to be desired. But I think overall, we're still trying to figure out getting a groove, but I think we're on the right track right now. Definitely we're just trying to make Carson or whoever the quarterback is back there comfortable, give him time to hit the receivers. But I think as a group right now, we're trending in the right direction. We just got to keep working.
Anything else for Jake?
With the initial impressions of Weber State, is there anything specifically that stands out about them, or are you guys at this point just more concerned about yourself and your own performances?
Individually we got to focus on what we need to focus on, work on what we need to work on. But watching their tape, they're a bunch of they're FCS team, but they don't play like it. They're tough guys. They're well coached. They go out there, they play hard every play. They never give up on each play. So definitely we see that on film, and I respect them for that for sure. I respect everyone I go against, and definitely watching them on tape. Individually, I know what I gotta do. We all gotta know what we gotta do. But when you watch their tape, you gotta respect every opponent basically.
You look at other Mountain West results, and you guys as a conference have had a very good start against Power 5 opponents. Do you kind of watch those games and root for the guys, even though you're going to be going against them, a couple weeks from now?
Yeah, definitely we do pay attention to what's going on a little bit, with Fresno, specifically in our side. As far as rooting for them, sure, as a conference, you want our conference to, show up each day and, take care of business against these Power 5 teams. But, like I said earlier, it's a respect factor kind of. You want to make sure they're doing well, but when we play them, we're not rooting for them, But I think definitely, we do pay attention a little bit as far as, what our goal, what we want to achieve. But, we root for them when they go against Power 5 teams.
How important is it to play well this week? And not necessarily, wipe that off in the memory, but just to play well and get that confidence back.
Yeah, it's definitely, we want to come out there and, get back to what we know what to do, and it's a mindset. We gotta have the mental intensity. Come out there. It doesn't matter who we're playing. Just go out there and execute the game plan. Do what the coaches are telling us to do. Play hard, play with great effort, and regardless of the outcome, you just want to go out there every play, give it your all, and just know after the game's over, you left it all out there on the field.
All right.
What are you guys doing to ensure that you don't overlook Weber State?
We're just taking from what happened yesterday into account, and we're just putting it into everything we do, whether it be effort, great technique, and stuff like that. We're not letting nobody get ahead of us. We are taking every game one by one, and we just want to take them seriously as much as we would take Oregon seriously.
Such opposite feelings coming out week 1 versus week 2. As a player, how does that impact you, experiencing all this so quickly?
I'm happy it's happening now. We're getting the losing out of the way, and we're getting that bad taste out of our mouth. Right now I don't think we're playing our best ball, and for us to beat Purdue like how we did, it was like we weren't even at our best yet. So now it's great to see that, that we're starting to slowly come together as a team and whatnot, and we're figuring it out. We're happy. We're not happy that happened to us, but we needed it. You know what I'm saying? At some point it was going to happen, whether or not we liked it or not. But it was great for us to happen to us early, and now we got out the way, and then we're going to build off that soon.
What have you liked about what the defense has done through the first 2 games, and what needs to be improved most?
We need to just improve fundamentally. I do too. All as a unit, we need to improve as one. And, we just need to understand doing our job, because, just doing our job can go a long way. There was a lot of mistakes that we made out there on our own with Oregon, based off us. We were shooting ourselves in the foot in a way, yeah. So we just need to be out there technically sound, fundamentally sound.
One of my coworkers is doing a story on Daniel Brown, and you played high school ball with him. What's your first memory of Daniel?
My first memory of Daniel Brown, I transferred from Westchester to Narbonne, and I was playing 7-on-7 with him. I was linebacker, and you know, DB was always kind of a cool. He was always just like in the shadows type of guy. I actually, let me start over. I actually played with him in basketball first when I first got to Narbonne. So when I was playing with him in basketball, he was really, you know, good at playing defense. You know, he was a good defensive guy. He would go in just to get a couple steals and whatnot. And he was good with the ball, too, with his ball handling. So from there, I kind of had a feeling, you know, like, in a way, he's like me. He likes basketball. You could tell he's using football to play basketball in a way. And, you know, that kind of helped him out with his defense. And, you know, it shows on the field. That's why he's so good at covering guys.
What do you think he took such a big jump last year and then, you know, bringing it into this year as well? I mean, he became a really impact player last year.
Yeah, you know, I just been coached great. Honestly, I think at this point, I've seen a lot of people here within my first year, like Malik Reed and Koresh, you know, do it the right way and show how it's done. And then Kaufusi was a great coach too as well. Very humbling to, you know, play with those guys and be coached by Kaufusi as well. And then now to have Ship in my year, supposedly my breakout year, you know, he's not letting nothing slide. You know, everything I do, he's on me for everything, running to the ball. You know, if I'm not running through the bags hard enough, he's going to make me start over, you know, and that's the little things that could get us right. You know, even though it makes me mad, of course, you know, definitely it just makes me realize, you know, everything has to be 100% because then come game day, you're going to do it naturally. You won't even notice that you're doing it 100%.
Do you feel 100%? I mean, just physically? I know you had the little knee
Oh,
injury.
definitely.
How scary was that? And, you know, when did you feel, I guess, back to 100?
It was scary, definitely. You know, I was just happy that it was minor. And then I just had a lot of people coming up to me telling me, like, you know, it could have been over just like that. It's a lot of people that, you know, the game could be over for them just in one play. And, you know, to finally see it for myself, you know, it kind of opened up my eye and realized how lucky I was. And now I just want to do everything 100% because I never know when my last play could be. Granted, I went out, my last play was a tackle for loss in that spring game, but just the idea of you never know when it could be your last play. So now I just want to go hard and, you know, until it's my last play.
You guys had you know, maybe didn't start great on defense last year as well, but by the end of the season you were playing outstanding defense. You guys are going to try and take the same journey this year. What was it about last year's defense that you guys have to replicate to be able to get to the level you guys were playing defense at last year?
Just working hard, in my opinion. You know, last year, Corey would work so hard that it would make me want to work because in film, you would notice it. Like, you would notice how hard Corey's working. You would notice how lackadaisical I was looking to the point where now I'm getting called out for it because it's obvious on film it would show up. So we just need more guys running around and, you know, just having more energy out there. Malik had energy at all the time. He was hitting everybody all the time. He was hitting scout players all the time. Sonny was hitting everybody hard. Dane would be running hard to the ball. You know, we just had guys that were just, you know, they wouldn't say a lot, but when they would do it, you would see it on film and it would just make you look dumb that you weren't running to the ball. And that's the type of effort that we're trying to get here. Now we're trying to get to the point where everyone should be running to the ball. If you're a one, you should be running to the ball, and it should look bad on film if you're not running to the ball. You know, it should look like a loaf. So that's our plan for this year, and, you know, I'm sticking with that.
Every opponent, every offense you face is going to be different in some way, shape, or form. What have you seen so far in the early portions from Weber State that has you concerned at this point?
They're fundamentally sound. They're well coached. You know, I don't think they're more physical than us. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. I don't think they're more physical than us, but they are coached well. And if we don't do our assignment right, if our eyes aren't in the right spot, you know, they will gash us. They will make us pay for it. That's what I feel about Weber State.
How important is it, of course, to defend your home field now you return to Mackey?
It's really important. You know, what happened yesterday or whenever it happened, it was just, you know, it was crazy. And I don't like that feeling. You know, that's why it's hard for me to just explain it. I don't like that feeling of losing. I never like being on that side of the stick. and definitely defending Mackey. We're not letting that happen again, and guys need to get a little more fire in them now because it happened. It's over with now, but still keep it in the back of your head. Don't just forget about it. Like, yeah, we forgetting about it, but it needs to stay there. You need to remember how they was doing us in the fourth quarter, how they was dancing on us and, acting like clowns out there. It was just, it's something I'll never forget, and now I don't want nobody to ever do us like that, especially not at Mackey.
What is the confidence level right now? Is that something you're concerned about, or are you okay with it?
Excuse me, can you say that again?
The confidence level of the team right now after a game like that, is it something you're concerned about?
Oh, no, I'm not worried about our confidence at all. I'm not worried about our confidence at all. I know our offense is going to get it together, and I know our defense is going to get it together. Right now we're just relying on our older guys right now to get us, get our head in the right spot. But, I don't think we have a confidence issue at all, no. Yeah.
What's been the message from the coaches, even after the game and through today? It seems like they've remained supportive and trying not to get everybody panic ready.
Yeah, Coach Norvell was just telling us, don't go to practice with your head down like it happened. It's over with now. Like, all we could do is look on to the next week, and, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just look on into this week and, keep it in the back of our head how they did us and whatnot. And, of course, they're supportive of us because that's what coaches are supposed to do. But definitely we need to just, rally around each other. It needs to be the team. It doesn't need to be coaches telling us that, we're all right in this and this and that. It needs to be coming from the team so then we can rally together as a team.
Do you feel that Oregon kind of wanted to make a statement on Saturday after what they went to, or they wanted to blow somebody out? They wanted to do what they did because they never stopped.
Yeah, they had to prove. I guess they lost to Auburn or something or whatever. I guess they had to prove to the people that they're still a championship contending team. And, I'm just mad that it was us. I feel like we could have done way better. I personally think we gave up at half, which is something I've never seen from our team ever, from last year to now. So I'm a little bit I was more disappointed than anything in the fact that we gave up because I know we could do better.